All right, what's up, everybody? Cowboy here, and let's see. We just got the data right now for CPI, and Bitcoin's heading up at the same time as that data is coming out. So that gives me the feeling that we're looking at cool CPI. Let's take a look over at Forex Factory. This is the big data to come out this month, aside from FOMC. So CPI is Consumer Price Index, and it came out as expected on all three fronts. So there's an estimated month over month CPI and year over year CPI. Those numbers came out as expected. So what does that mean? That means that the market is probably going to continue in the direction it was going. And now that the uncertainty is over, the market's going to see a bit of an influx of money, right? So at this point, we know Bitcoin's pretty bullish. It looks like it may not be willing to pull back too far, right? We're going to look at Bitcoin first. We can take a look at the indices if there is time. So what I did to measure what might happen to Bitcoin is I used a Fibonacci tool. I mapped this impulse on a higher time frame. It's a bit of a clean impulse, strong move up, and then there's usually a retracement down to the 618, this green number right here, and I still think it's quite possible we see that. Very possible, but it may not happen as well. We haven't seen enough to really say either way. Price is hanging out. It's range locked nice and high. The bulls are still in control. High time frame, certainly, but we're seeing a range form right now. And this is a short-term range. It might only last for a day or less or more. It's been going on. Yeah, it's about a day, about a 24-hour range, more or less, right? And it's between 86,000 and 90,000. So that's a $4,000 range. It dove a little bit deeper, but it got shoved up really hard. So if you look at these candles right here, you saw that it got rejected to the upside. So price tried to go down, the bulls kicked in, and they held it up pretty strong. So Bitcoin is looking long and strong. Doesn't mean it won't head down. If it does head down, we're taking a look at as high as 81,000, as low as maybe 76,000 to grab some liquidity. But once Bitcoin gets moving in the bull market, oftentimes it doesn't go down as deep as we think it will. We might be looking for this entry down at about 78, 76,000, and it might head down that direction. But all of the rest of the market is looking at that as well. So if, in fact, it headed down this way, I'd be looking for maybe a little bit earlier of a long. And of course, I've got the algos to tell me what the algos think will happen, right? Basically, all the stuff that I've built over the years might see a nice kind of a pullback, a little shy of these marks, and head back up. It may happen. It could actually pull back a little bit deeper, like I said, 76,000, this liquidity down here, but it might stop short of that, not quite make it down, and then head back up. So for the moment, though, just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with this high time frame, 4,000 point kind of range, this consolidation. And whichever way it breaks out of this consolidation is going to be giving us clues as to which way price might go. So you combine that with the algos and you have yourself a probability matrix, and you can make a trade based on that. That's how that works. And fortunately, I've been developing algos for years. And if you want to know how to do it, come to algofactory.tech. Now let's take a quick look at Solana. Solana is still staying above 200. Again, long and strong. It's like a leveraged version of Bitcoin. It does what Bitcoin does and then some, upside and downside. And looks like it certainly has retraced back down to at least its 382. Let's see here. Not quite. No, it's about the same as Bitcoin. It came back down and didn't quite hit that 382, being pulled back up. And it certainly has not done a sideways consolidation. It's actually head down a little bit because I think it popped up a bit more than Bitcoin did. So it's probably going to head down a little bit more than Bitcoin. We can measure that, right? Let's take a look here on this move up. It was a 45% move, right? Going back to Monday in November. And I doubt Bitcoin's moved 45% since the 4th of November, since the election day. I doubt that's been a 45%, but we'll see right now. Okay, so this has been a 34% move. Man, that's the thing about crypto. You can get a 30 or 40% move within a couple weeks. I mean, that's amazing. That's going back 10 days, basically. But yeah, so Solana pulled up a bit harder than Bitcoin did. So it's probably going to also pull back a bit if Bitcoin pulls back. And that's just how crypto works. Your very popular altcoins, your coins that are not Bitcoin are going to move a little, stronger both up and down. I know a lot of people want to see Doge. It hasn't pulled back and it may not pull back. If it did pull back, we have what it would look like. But it's actually like the rest of crypto, stayed long and strong. And I think going back to election day, you're looking at like a times 3. That's like a 300% move. Let's see here. A 200% move. It more than doubled. So Doge really was the big winner there. Not a 30%, not a 40%, but a 200% move going back to Sunday the 4th. So really election day, a little bit less than 200, but I mean, I don't want to say who's counting because we are counting, but Doge definitely the big winner in the last few days. That's for sure. So again, if we just kind of map this out as an impulse, and I have it mapped out already. If we do get a strong pullback, you're looking at a very high probability of 28 cents. But here's the thing about Doge. Doge has amazing marketing built into this whole Elon Musk situation. So Doge could just continue up. I mean, it's just what it is. Even though the crypto really probably doesn't have that much to do with Elon Musk and, whatever project he's involved in with the government, the people are just going to play that way. Radium, another big winner, going back to the 5th. Let's see how we did there. I'm going to bet it's 100%. 87% winner. Radium did great. It's actually retraced pretty strongly, though, back to, I bet you, almost the 786 retracement. So if we put a fib on that, it definitely touched the 618 halfway to the 786. So these Fibonacci tools are very useful in trading. And without going into an entire class about it, what I do is I overlay them onto a market impulse. An impulse is a strong move in a given direction. And there are different ways to do this. I mean, let's just say there's one way to do it, but there's a lot of people doing it differently. But there really is one way to use fibs. And I know what I'm doing. And basically, we did see that pull back to this 618, right? So very useful stuff. Let's move on really quickly to the indices. Let's take a look at least how one or two of them are doing. Obviously, the indices made that same kind of move from the election day through, looks to be yesterday. Yeah. So let's measure that. And that for the indices, this is really good. That's a 5% move in markets. That's all-time highs. I mean, that's amazing. For such a massive, massive group of stocks put together, that kind of move is amazing. And it has not even come close to touching that 382, staying very, very strong. Not to say it won't. In fact, I do expect to see a pullback to like 59.40 or so in the SP 500. And this is the futures. It's already, it's going to slow down when the market closes, and then, it'll speed back up when the market is back open. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the Dow. You're going to see something very similar. I expect the Dow to pull back to about 43,600. Let's see if the Dow outperformed the election pump. Yeah, the Dow outperformed. It's actually at 6.8%. So it did better than SP 500. And then you have the NASDAQ, which had been underperforming, and then it gapped up. So let's see if the NASDAQ, the nasty NASDAQ, won the election pump game. Not quite, but everything went up about 5 or 6%, and NASDAQ did pretty well. Can't complain about 6% in markets, and I think it barely eclipsed its all-time high. If I'm not mistaken, delete that. We can zoom out and see that, because the NASDAQ had been underperforming. But you can see what my prediction was, or my forecast was, over the weekend on Sunday. Again, none of this is investment advice, but I did say that I expect to see the NASDAQ pull back just to this level, this prior, what I believe was the all-time high, and then go ahead and head up, or just head straight up. Now, it didn't quite have the gumption to head straight up, but it does look like it pulled back to where I said it would. It just did it a lot more quickly than I said it would. And then I did predict it would head up, and you have a target of about 22,400, but that's my target. That's not for you to trade. You need to determine your own targets, do your own research, and know that what we say is not investment advice. And there's lots of this not investment advice over at algofactory.tech. So what we do is we teach people how to build their own trading plan. We work with a lot of experienced traders, but if you are a new trader, we can get you started over there as well. You go to algofactory.tech. That's where you can find us. And let's take a brief look at the comments here before we move on. Mod, good morning. MTNG, good morning. Lisa Gray, yes, always good to see you, my friend. I appreciate it. Enjoy the coffee, and let me know if you have any questions. Anybody watching, if you have questions, you want to see a chart, you have your favorite stock, you want to see what you think, anything, Forex, precious metals, you name it, go ahead and leave a comment and ask for that chart, and I will see it, and we will give you a chart for that. All right. Thanks for watching, and do not forget ever.
Join us or die.